Next up, we've got Toledo and Miami, Ohio. Toledo, 3.5-point road favorites, 44.5 the total in this game. Here's a game I can finally sink my teeth into from a betting perspective. Give me Chuck Martin and that Miami, Ohio team as a home dog here, plus 3.5. I am not sold on Toledo's offense against some better defensive competition. I've seen enough of it. I've seen enough Tucker Gleason, the veteran quarterback for Toledo, to know he sometimes goes into he can sometimes be on just rip you apart, and then he can go 4 or 5 drives in a row where they can barely muster a first down. And usually some of those games for Toledo have come against the better defenses that they have faced. And you look at their road track record this year and going back under Jason Candle, it's not always been pretty. You look at their road efforts in the MAC so far. Western Michigan, 13.5-point road favorites, losing outright, 14-13. 11.5-point road favorites to Bowling Green. They had that 20 or 14-0, I was 21-0 lead in that game. And somehow they ended up letting Bowling Green come all the way back to beat them, 28-23. And that was after Drew Pine got injured for Bowling Green. They were down to Anderson and R.J. Garcia as their quarterbacks. And Bowling Green still was able to come back and beat Toledo. Another outright loss as a favorite on the road to the Toledo Rockets. I have no faith in them as in this kind of a price range on the road. I just don't. Now, at home, if you want to lay points with Toledo in the Glass Bowl, go for it. They've been very good at home. But on the road, it's Jekyll and Hyde. It's like a different football team. You know, they destroyed Kent State and Northern Illinois and Akron all at home. Then they go on the road, and they're double-digit chalk. And not only are they not covering, they're losing games outright. Like I said, to Western Michigan and Bowling Green. Miami, tough loss for them last week against Ohio, 24-20. It was a back-and-forth kind of game. I think in the end, their defense, look, credit to Parker Navarro. He got things rolling. They couldn't really contain Bangura, the really good running back for Ohio. He did some damage against Miami last week. But the overall numbers are still very solid, CMAC, for the defense. They're holding foes to 3.5 yards per carry on the ground so far this season, 3.8, which is pretty respectable when it's all said. I like their secondary. They're only giving up 42nd most passing yards per game. And when it comes to Toledo's offense, they're pretty balanced. They run, they throw, they can do both. But Miami's pretty adequate at stopping both the run and the pass. So, and by the way, that loss did not really hurt Miami, Ohio, the Redhawks last week, because they're still 4. That was their first conference loss to Ohio last week. So they're still at 4-1 in MAC play. They're still in that 4-way tie with Western Michigan, Buffalo, and Ohio for first in the conference, and still very much alive to make it to the MAC championship game. So I expect a bounce-back game. We like Chuck in this role, especially Chuck Martin in this role in the MAC as an underdog. We know in non-conference at times he's had issues stepping up and kind of takes a beat down and tries to just get his team to get ready for the MAC. This is the point spread range, and these are the spots that historically in all his years here coaching Miami, Chuck Martin's been really good in these spots. So I'm going to take him. Miami plus 3.5 and fade a Toledo team that is still over against the spread in MAC road games this season. What do you think here, C-Mac? Toledo, Miami.
Yeah, they're only cover 0-4 on the road. 1-3 that opening game. They kind of snuck in that low scoring game. Kentucky, yeah. That was fucking ugly game.
We're getting a boatload of points there. Yeah. So
bunch in that one. Here we got Miami, Ohio, just a team that's better at home. A little
here's
bit
an
like
angle I forgot
Toledo.
to mention this before you continue.
Hit it.
I'm not a big DeQuan Finn guy. You guys know that. But a little revenge angle here. He used to be the quarterback for Toledo years ago. I think that was the very first school he played quarterback for in college was Toledo. So a little bit of a, hey, let's stick it to them kind of element to this matchup here for Miami as he plays against his old team. So DeQuan Finn gets to try to beat his old squad.
When I look at this total, it's under nothing here with these defenses. I know it's not huge here, but 44.5. I'd only be on the under. Miami, Ohio's got to keep this how they play football. Good defense, run the ball, which they can. Don't turn the ball over. One thing with Toledo, though, when they've stepped up and gone on the road, they've given it up to some teams. But this defense, though, is pretty good. And I don't know how. I think they could stop Miami, Ohio a little bit in this game as you look through it. But one thing, I think both teams, they want to run the ball, but both run defenses are pretty good. I think it kind of like cancels out in this way. So, yeah, to me, this is Miami, Ohio. Off a loss at home. This is classic. We talked about Toledo at home, maybe, and they kicked Northern Illinois' ass, big time. So, this is classic. Everyone sees it. I bet you that all this is, we're here now, but already the early money and later might be on Toledo as well. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it seems like the public is enamored with Toledo. If anyone that if the public does bet the MAC football routinely, it does feel like they have taken the money in certain games this year. Toledo, I've noticed that. We'll see if that is.
And after a big win, just a big, nice home beatdown. Yeah.